this is the all English speaking lineup of Great Britain, Canada, Australia and the United States. There was a preliminary race which we can tell you about, but let's have a look at the crews.
In lane 1 from Great Britain, Long, McKellar, Dunford, Ford, Irwin, Stewart, Taylor, Campbell, Ord and Fieldman in the Cox seat. Canada in lane 2, Sevic, Filmer, Meshkulite, Richala, Visieski, Dent, Payne, Walker, Westenius, Kit and Morris in is the coach. In the Australian boat, lane 3, Wherry, Stefan, Morton, Rowe, Hoare, Patton, Cox, Barr and Verbunt, the Cox. John Keogh, the coach. And the crew that has come out here to send a message, no doubt inspired by their Tommy Keller medal winner for this year, Karen Davis. The crew of Buck, Wanamaker, Salmons, Coffey, Collins, Musnicki, Hederman, Brueggemann, Castagna, coached by Jesse Follier.
So what we have here is the crews that finished 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th at the World Championships last year. Romania, the gold medalists, are not here. But in the preliminary race, the United States, silver medalists last year, were super impressive with a big win. We're taking a look here with the Australians. Paige Barr in that stroke seat, the young Mercantile rower with Hayley Verbunt. Her Cox also from Mercantile in front of her. They're experienced together. Youth in that stern of the Australian boat. As we take a look at it now, you can see it's that American 8 have made another big start. Starting to just get that bow up in front of the rest of the field. Great Britain not so far behind them as it looks in that picture in 2nd right now.
Well, the Aussies just getting dropped off the pace here early, which is a bit of a surprise, but as you say, the Americans up at 43 strokes per minute, currently in the lead. They've got the experience of Megan Musnicki, 41 years of age, Olympic champion in that boat. And we mentioned Karen Davies, the Tommy Keller medal winner, the first American to receive the Tommy Keller medal, part of that dominance that the US Women's 8 had, 11 years unbeaten. And I know that she spoke with this crew the other night, and it was really a lift for the US team to see that recognition. But coming through the first 500 metre mark, perhaps on the far side of the course, there it is, Great Britain. Thumbs up from Greg Searle. Canada in 2nd, USA 3rd, Australia in 4th.
We saw Lucy Stefan there in the 2 seat of this Australian 8. She's the experienced one, a gold medalist from the Tokyo Olympics. Also very good at sewing and crochet. But she needs to be good at getting the best out of her crew right now, because the Australians are getting somewhat dropped. It's Great Britain who've got their bow in front of the Canadian boat beside them, and America, who started so fast, have dropped back now. Canadians have had to make a change. They've had some illness within the crew, so one change there from the number 1 lineup they would have. There they are. They are now moving, and it's Great Britain and Canada who are opening a little gap here on the Americans, who started fast. And this will be a disappointing shock, I think, for the Americans, who looked so good in the preliminary race.
I'm not sure this is how I expected to see the race unfold, Greg. A huge turn up here from the British, currently in the lead, just narrowly over Canada, but in fact they look like they're opening that lead.
They are opening that lead. We're having a look there at Kaylee Filmer in the 2 seat, Olympic bronze medalist in the pair. Switched to cycling, hasn't been rowing so much, but has got back into the 8 now. She's in the 2 seat. She will be right in the thick of the race with the Great Britain 8 beside her. As we're coming down towards the 1,000 metre mark, I can't wait to take another check on this and see that the Great Britain boat are holding that lead of about 1 metre over Canada, and then it's about another half a length back to America and Australia, trying to work their way into it.
4 members of the Australian crew that won the bronze medal at the World Championships last year. all 4 members of the women's 4 from last year that placed 5th have come into this crew, along with debutante Sammy Morton making her debut, but struggling at the moment, sitting back in 4th position. The medal prospects at this stage: GB, Canada, USA. Still a surprise to see the Americans in 3rd.
Yeah, well, the Americans, you can see them trying to work their way back in, but the distances show you, as that picture does, it's about 10 metres. Great Britain hanging on to that narrow lead, 1 metre over Canada. So we're looking there, looking in, that was the American crew. We're looking, there's Jessie Foglia, the Cox, trying to get the best out of her crew, trying to get them to move. The real heat is at the front of the field. This Canadian crew trying to come back on Great Britain, but they're locked 1 metre apart, coming here through this big 3rd quarter. Emily Ford there, we see her in the 4th seat. Her brother sits in the stroke seat of the GB men's 8. They say they're both very proud of each other, excited that they'll both be going to Paris together. Will they be going there as winners in Lucerne? Let's see. The next minute or so is going to tell us.
And it looks like the Canadians are starting to make a move now. Are they going to challenge the British? The British maybe just with the slightest of advantage as they come through the 500 to go. The Americans sitting about half a length down. It's really a 2-horse race here between the British and the Canadians.
Well, I still think the British could come again. I think the Americans could come again. We're just looking Heidi Long and Rowan McKellar in the bow pair of that Great Britain 8. They were in the 4 that got gold medals back in 2022. They're desperately trying to hang on, but you can see how much it's hurting them as this Canadian crew just keeps coming and coming. Abigail Dent, the youngster, the 22-year-old, sitting in the middle of that Canadian boat with the gold medalists from Tokyo surrounding her. That experience, the gold medals in Tokyo, are starting to help. That Canadian boat has just about got that bow ball in front. You can see it on the graphic. It's pretty much bow ball to bow ball between Canada and Great Britain now.
Well, Canada have only qualified 2 boats for the Olympic Games, but could it be a boat that's going to bring home the gold medal? They now have their stern ahead of GB as they're coming past the stands. Canada just take the advantage. The Australians trying desperately to get back in it, but they're going to have too much to do. The Americans sitting in that bronze medal position, Greg.
Well, here we go, coming down towards the line. Canada have this lead. They're opening a lead against Great Britain. It looks like it's now up to about 1/3 of a length as we're coming down. America are finishing fast in front of me, but I don't think they're going to get it. Coming through the line, here we go. It's Canada back at the top of the rostrum. Gold medals for them. Great Britain in 2nd. It's America 3rd. Just about a boat length back, and Australia coming in 4th place. The Canadians punch the air. I spoke to them in the week. They feel like they're not just doing it for each other, they're doing it for their men's 8 who were pushed out of contention by the qualifying race. As we see the joy for the British supporters punching the air there. But massive reward here for this Canadian 8. We need to take a look and see exactly what the lineup is, because I know they had an illness within there. We'll bring you that any moment and look for the medal ceremony. Big thumbs up from Great Britain. That's a big turnaround from the preliminary race as well, where America bossed it.
Huge, huge change from the preliminary race. But really dominant there, the Canadians and the British.
Yeah. No, fantastic. Those two last year, well, they were 4th and 5th at the World Championships. They were the ones off the podium. It was the Americans and the Australians who were on the podium behind the Romanians. So it just shows what a highly competitive race this one's going to be in the women's 8. Of course, the Italians also qualified.
Yeah, and that's the fantastic story about these games, isn't it? That the Danish and the Italians have qualified for the first time in history in the women's 8.
Yeah. Heartbreak for the Canadian men's 8, as I said. It just got eased out by the Italian men. And as I said, the Canadian women were pulling for their guys as well. And that got them across the line in gold medal position. Yeah, so just checking for Canadian followers, it's Avalon Westernays who was substituted out. Avalon was out, and a sub came in for that Canadian win.
Let's hear it for our